Hey folks, it's Mark with Firemount Outdoors. Thanks for joining me today. You know, besides guns and ammo and shooting, you know what I really like? Flashlights. You know why I like flashlights? Because I can't see in the dark, but I can if I got a flashlight. Here, so stay tuned. You know, folks, the reason to have a flashlight is obvious. Guess what? We can't see in the dark, and we're coming up on the winter, and it is dark all the time. It's dark when you go to work, it's dark when you get home, and our eyes can't see in the dark, and that's why we need a flashlight. For us as firearms enthusiasts and weapons owners, there's another reason to have a flashlight. You know, we just did a little weapons review, a weapon light review for webbyshops.com, and one of the safety points that we brought up was that you never want to use your weapon light to identify what a potential threat would be. The weapon light is only for illuminating the threat after you've identified that. So because we don't point our weapon at anything we don't want to destroy. If the light's attached to the weapon, guess what? We are pointing our weapon at something that we don't even know what it is yet. So we need a good flashlight. And you know me, I am a big fan of a good value. So we're going to look at some of these lights that I picked up in between browsing the aisles and the free snacks at the Costco. We've got a Duracell 1000 lumen, and we've got a 3-pack of the Duracell 300 lumen flashlights. And we're going to check them out right now. Well, let's take a look at this 3-pack of Duracells. You know, I've had experience with like 3 generations of the Costco flashlights before that are in this size and similarly packaged. The first generation, some of you may recall, were absolute junk. They weren't junk, they were really bright and they worked really well right up until they didn't work because they had an illuminated tail cap in the end, and that tail cap had an LED that would light up when the batteries got low, which was the stupidest thing ever. So you would have, so it'd be in your drawer and the batteries would start to be wearing down. You know, granted, it would still work a little bit. You know, you could find your way in the dark and find a path. But those particular ones, the light would come on and drain the battery completely and make the thing absolutely worthless inside your drawer or beside your bed or whatever. And so that was really annoying. You know, the cool thing about Costco is they've got a really generous return policy. The bad thing about Costco is you have to go there and wait in line to return the stuff. So I didn't return those. I kind of just threw those away. And the succeeding generations have got better in quality. A thing that I just noticed here is the previous generations used 3 AAA batteries, and these ones use 4. And they started out at like 175 advertised lumens, and then they were 250, and these ones are the latest generation, and they bear the Duracell name, which is a name that we all know. So hopefully that they have some quality to them. And going to screw this together and we're going to check this out. The finish, the threads, everything seemed really good. It's got a little fascia here that's a weaponized pommel so that you could put a dent in somebody's skull if you needed to beat them with it. It's also probably really good for wearing out your pocket or wearing a hole in the door pocket of your truck. I'm not sure how much of a valuable feature that is because I've never had to try and crush anybody with my flashlight, but that's what that's for. And that's got a pretty bright beam right there. So we have a bright intensity, and then we've got a medium intensity, and then we have no intensity. Oh, one thing that's just super cool here, folks. Yeah, all the other previous generations that I've noticed had that really annoying strobe feature that I think some tactical people would like. That, okay, we're going to just have a disco or a strobe effect, a disorienting strobe effect. But in everyday use and day-to-day usage, that was just really annoying. It was another thing you had to click through. I'm super happy to find out that that annoying thing is gone. We've got 1 click is full intensity, 2 clicks is half intensity, still pretty bright, and then we just click off. We don't have to go through the disco mode. That is cool. Thank you, Duracell, for getting rid of that. If we look at their advertised rates of battery life, they say that it will last 7 hours on the low intensity and 1 hour and 30 minutes at the very high intensity. And they say that this will withstand a drop of 1 meter. Well, let's just drop it from 1 meter. Alright, still worked. From 1 meter. We'll do it again just because we do that. Alright, there. Drop test complete. That is the little 3-pack of these. And we're going to do some illumination testing with that a little bit later. Let's open this bad boy. This advertised 1,000 lumens, which is really bright. We are almost approaching car headlight with 1,000, or at least halfway to a car headlight. Open this up. Yeah, so this uses 4 C cells. I'm going to load that up. It is advertised to be shock resistant to 1 meter and has a 2-hour life at the high intensity and 35 hours at the low intensity. So let's assemble this right quick and take a peek at what we can see. Okay, so I can see that I'm focusing the beam. It's got a really very, very nice, round, perfectly focused circle here. And when we zoom in, it goes to a square that resembles a LED array. So this is the, oh, it's got that, it's got the stroboscopic folk. If you're wanting the disco, this one's still got it. Personally, I find it annoying. And you know, we're going to be comparing this to the old standard. Most all of us probably have one of these. This is the old Maglite. These have been the standard forever. They're tougher than heck and stout. By modern comparisons, they're really not all that bright, and the pattern isn't all that great. So I'm going to put some brand new fresh batteries in this, and we're going to compare the intensity. So, I just put brand new batteries in the old Maglite, the old trusty Maglite that we have used forever and ever. And I have my dad standing outside the shop, and he is at 50 foot away, and we're going to illuminate him with the trusty Maglite. So I can pick out that there's somebody there. You can kind of see I can focus from a narrow beam, sorta. It just kind of makes a cone of light that's not very perfect. This is the old trusty Maglite that we've used forever and ever, and this was the standard. And there's my pops right there, and that's at 50 feet away. This is with the traditional 3-cell Maglite with brand new batteries. Now I'm gonna get out the Costco, the smaller, the 3-pack. We're going to illuminate them with that. Now you can see that the light pattern is much more. It's a cone of light. Now you can see we got some fog going on up here, and so that's kind of obscuring our view a little bit. But it kind of actually eliminates the beam pattern a lot better. So that is the high intensity of the Duracell Costco 300 lumens. This is the low intensity. Now we're just going to do a quick comparison. That is the Costco at low intensity, That is the Maglite, Costco, Maglite, Costco, Maglite. So you can kind of tell a difference in the color too. The LED from the little Costco light is much bluer, and it's much more yellow from the old Krypton bulb from the traditional Maglite that we're used to using. So Maglite, Costco 300 on low, Costco 300 on high. And you know, it's unfortunate we got so much fog kind of messing with us, but I think it gives you a good idea. So now we're going to get out the Big Daddy. Alright, this is the advertised 1000 lumen. And I have got that focused in, and you can see that instead of a cone, it is a square when that is zoomed all the way in for a spot focus. He is well lit up. I can tell what color shirt he's wearing, even through the fog. And I can also see what color pants, identify that he's a male. There's kind of a zoomed out broad illumination. I'm going to zoom back in. And there he is, and that's on high. And this is on low intensity. So even on the low intensity, I'm able to identify that he's a male, and I can identify what kind of clothing he's wearing. So if this was a target identification, I could determine right now if he was friend or foe. Now, Pops, is that annoying?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, that intensity right there, what's that to look like? What's that look like?
You're staring into the headlights.
Yeah?
It's bright.
It's blinding?
No. It'd be hard to acquire a target.
Okay, so if I hold it over here, can you see me at all?
I cannot see you at all either. No.
Right. Okay. All right. So there's our 50-foot test of the Costco flashlights. We'll bring it inside, and we're going to do some scientific measurement of intensity. All right, now we're going to get a little bit of science going on in here. We're going to measure the intensity of our old trusty Maglite. We're going to light up George. George is a potential threat. We don't know if he's a friend or foe. We're not going to light him up with a weapon light. We're going to identify him with our flashlight. So I've got George lit up right here, and I'm looking at the scale over there, and I focus the beam and try and put the light sensor at the brightest part of the beam, and the highest number that I have seen is about 550 lux on George lit up over there. And you can kind of see the beam pattern. If I zoom out, you know, we got that big void in the middle that we're all familiar with. If we zoom in, it's kind of a spot. A flood leaves a big hole in the middle that gradually goes away as we zoom in. So we relied on these for years, but we lived with these deficiencies. So next we're going to go check out the 300 lumen flashlight from Costco. Now this is in the high intensity, and frankly we went up the chart. We're going to go to the times 10 range. The times 10 range, and on low I am at 20. So that's 2,000. At high, I am at 100. Right at 100. That is a lux meter. It's different than measuring lumens because lux is a measurement of intensity instead of quantity. So it just tells us that it is really intense right there. So we even saw up to a peak of 107, 110. That's with the 300 lumen light. Now we're getting out the monster, and I'm at the flood position. As you can see, this pattern is really big and bright. We lit up everything, and the beauty of it in a flood pattern is really clear. There is no distortion, there's no holes, there's not anything like we saw in the Maglite. This is just a perfect ball of light that I'm illuminating. Now as I zoom in, it narrows down to a square, and we can see the numbers increasing there. And this particular one, we're banging up against 300. In George's eyes, if we were pointing it in his eyes. And we zoom it out, and it's got a great spherical pattern. All right, folks, in summary, we've got the Duracell 1000 lumen flashlight, which is the big one. These are these ones. And then we looked at the 300. These are from Costco. This is the 300 in a 3-pack. My initial impressions, compare it to old Trusty. You've got old Trusty in your rig, and you probably had it for 20 years like I have. This flashlight works, and it works sort of in a sort of sucky fashion. They focus erroneously and leave voids and dark spots, but it is the best billy club ever. So, you know, but it's finally made, and it's American, and it lasted 20 years, and God, you gotta love that. But technology's like went woo past Maglite. I haven't seen them keep up, and that's a shame, really, because they could own this market with the quality and the machining that they do. The 1000 lumens, great intensity and awesome beam pattern. We saw when we're in a flood pattern, it's a perfect sphere of light. It's beautiful. It's a beauty to behold. However, there's little fine differences when we extend it. The head wiggles, and it just makes me think that there's slop in this focus mechanism, and I'm concerned that with that slop, that is going to allow moisture impregnation if I get it wet or really wet, and if I use it to pummel something that needs pummeling, then it's going to exaggerate that water impregnation weakness there. These, I've seen and had 3 different generations of these, and they keep improving these small 3-packs at the Costco. And I think that they've dialed it in, and I really like this latest generation. Uses 4 batteries instead of 3, super duper bright, and you know, we don't have the silly tail cap illuminated battery shut off problem. I think that this is a dang fine value. I think they come in just under $10 a piece by the time you buy a 3-pack. So I think that if the wife goes to the Costco, you don't really have to go. You can just say, hey, get me the 3-pack of Duracell flashlight. And that'll be a good thing, because you'll have one for your bedside, you'll have one for your rig, and you'll have one for her rig at the same time. And you know what the best flashlight ever is? It's the one you got. So if she's going to Costco, have her pick up some of these 3-packs of the 300 lumens. And consider these. These are insanely bright right here, the 1000s. I can't totally endorse it right off the bat though. I got some quality concerns, but we're gonna test it out long term, see how they turn out. So once again, you need a flashlight to identify what goes bump in the night. Don't use your weapon light. Use a flashlight to identify, and then use your weapon light to illuminate your target as you shoot it. Hey, I want you to go ahead and take a minute. If you found this review to be insightful, enlightening, maybe mildly entertaining, go ahead and take a minute, log in, subscribe to us here on YouTube, and then go ahead and go over to Facebook. We're on Facebook, Fire Mountain Outdoors, Instagram, Fire Mountain Outdoors. Check us out on WordPress, Fire Mountain Outdoors. Go ahead and do all of that. We appreciate all of your input. Go ahead and give your comments down below and tell us what your experience with Costco flashlights has been. Thanks for watching.